Hi everybody, welcome to Mariachi Inglés. I'm here with Stephanie Amaro, the new guitarist for Mariachi Los Camperos. I wanted to go ahead and have an interview with Stephanie and show you guys, or actually just let you guys know a little bit what's going on with her and about the importance of the role that she's filling right now. So, Stephanie, you just recently joined Mariachi Los Camperos.
Yep, very, very recently. It's going to be my first concert with them tomorrow.
Really cool. So, go ahead and let some of my viewers know why that's significant.
Well, it would be significant because Mariachi Los Camperos, or any elite mariachi group, the top 3 or the top 4, haven't had any female members whatsoever for at least 25 years. So I'm the first one in at least 25 years, and the first the first armonía player ever, because the other ones have always been violinists.
Okay, let's talk about that. In my experience in mariachi, I would say the vast majority of female mariachis that I've come across play violin.
In the mixed groups, yeah.
Yeah, in the mixed groups, most always there's kind of the token female because they need a female singer.
Right.
And it's almost always a violin. How did you start playing mariachi? What made you choose guitar? Did you play guitar beforehand? Or, tell me a little bit about your beginnings in mariachi music.
Okay, well, easy enough. I've always been a guitar player. But I used to play electric guitar in like rock bands, and I had a punk band with my sister when we
Me
were
too.
teenagers.
I started playing metal.
Really? That's awesome. I noticed that metal players, usually when they mature later, they start playing flamenco. But when I was 19, years and years ago, I went to go see Mariachi Sol de Mexico, just as a fluke. A friend and I were like, hey, it's Cinco de Mayo, let's go see a mariachi. Well, I heard they have one at this place. So we went, and we were both like, what? Because we'd only seen mariachis in like the backyards at parties and stuff, and then that's a thing. But Mariachi Sol de Mexico is a completely different thing.
It's a different level.
Yeah, we were like, what the hell? This is like a boy band mixed with a jazz ensemble mixed with Mexican music. What is this? And then so I was like, I heard that they had a female group that was associated with them, and I was like, well, can you guys teach me how to do that? I would really love to learn this technique. And they were really cool at the time. They were like, sure. Like, Chuy Hernandez gave me lessons for a year.
Was this the Reinas that you approached, or
This
you
was
went straight to Sol de Mexico to ask them? So
yeah.
you learned.
Well, I didn't know. I was just like, hey, I play guitar, and so they're like, okay, yeah, sure. You need some lessons though, and so he, just completely generously gave me lessons basically for free for a year on his breaks there at Cielito Lindo. I would pay him with Dutch apple pies because at the time I worked at a bakery in a restaurant, and he loved the French apple pies. So I would just bring him a pie every time I came in, and he gave me lessons.
That's super cool. Yeah. So you were 19 around this time?
Mm-hmm.
About how long was it from the point that you started learning until the point that you started working as a mariachi or chambeando?
I would say about a year, because he taught me everything. Like, he taught me La Viquina, he taught me, because he has videos as well, and you can find them on YouTube. He has, but they're in Spanish, where you learn just a basic son, huapango, the 2/4 ranchera, 3/4 ranchera, joropo. And he just kind of gave me exercises, and we would just exercise on his breaks at Cielito Lindo. So about a year before I actually started going out and working, and that was also through him too, because he would give my contact to his friends or whoever needed an extra person, and that's how I started.
What was that like when you actually got yourself a traje and went to start working?
Gosh, let me really remember, because it's been a while. That was like half my life ago. I believe my first suit, my mom had a suit made for herself, I don't know, somewhere in the past, and I just had it altered so that I could wear it.
Okay, so it was a hand-me-down.
Yeah, totally.
That's really cool.
Because I didn't even know where to buy a suit, at the time, but my mom had one, so I had it tailored to fit me. And then this other group, Mariachi Las Adelitas,
Okay.
they were holding auditions, and he referred me to audition for them. And so I auditioned and I got in, and that's when I got my first, like, you know, fancy suits, you know, because they had them. And that was the first group I ever joined, was Adelita's. I could be wrong because this was like over 15 years ago, and things kind of cross in my memory too. So, but that's what I remember being my first group.
Going back to what you said about fancy suits,
Yeah.
more established groups, this is for my viewers who are not necessarily mariachi students, but aficionados or fans and want to know a little bit more about the inner workings of mariachi world. More established groups that are like put together and are the same members all the time, they'll often spring for like a little bit more, I suppose not generic suit. So
Fancy suits.
yeah, fancy suit.
I can show you. I have an example, if you want.
Oh, you have the Camperos tag here, huh?
Hell yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll edit this part out.
For example, okay, let me show your viewers. This is their jacket. It's got a satin collar. It's got pinstripes. It's got embroidery, and it's got these really heavy horses that I can practically ride on. There we go.
That's
there.
super fancy.
Yes, and my arm is hurting from holding it.
Okay, so the embroidery that is usually referred to as greca, if it's leather, because it's often a Greek design. It seems a little bit more...
Hilo.
Yeah, hilo metálico, so this is metallic string. All the metal parts, the adornations that you'll see on the side there, those are referred to as gala or botonadura. In this case, I would probably refer to it as gala because they're not buttons. The ones on the chest, those are called broches. This is just a brooch. But yeah, man, this is a super fancy suit. So this is not...
My arms are hurting.
That's not a generic suit that you might see a regular mariachi wearing, because a lot of the culture in bigger cities like Los Angeles, where a lot of mariachis work, the culture is very similar to that of the jazz scene in a lot of big cities a long time ago. Musicians will freelance. A trumpet player won't necessarily belong to one group, but he'll look for work and he'll go play with this group this weekend, and he'll play with a different group another weekend. So mariachis tend to have more of a generic suit that they can kind of fit in with any group that they go play with. So through your work with Trio Eguias, you kind of, I wouldn't say cut your teeth as a performer, but you definitely stepped up a level as far as the polishing and the prestige of your performances. How did it come about that you actually got asked to join Los Camperos? Did they approach you? Did you approach them, or how did it work?
Let me remember this. I think I've been dropping hints around town, and mostly I would get, because like there have been times over the years where Sol de Mexico needed a guitar player, or Camperos was looking for a guitar player, or whatever. And I would drop hints all the time, like, hey, sounds like you guys need a guitar player that has a high voice and has experience singing in trio parts. Where are you gonna find someone like that?
And somebody who's local to LA too.
Yeah. And they're like, ha ha ha, mija. And one of them told me, yeah, exactly. One of them told me, well, have you ever seen the movie Yentl with Barbra Streisand, where she dresses as a man and she like does, I don't know, I haven't seen it, but. And so I looked it up and I was like, okay, well, so if I dress in drag, then I can be in your group? Ha ha ha. Okay, well, whatever. This is like, I'd been kind of just whatever, and I was kind of, a little resentful about it, like.
Rightfully so.
Why is this person get a chance to audition, or why is this person getting a chance to, and I don't, like I sing better than that dude, or play better than that dude, and so I had just put it out of my mind because. It was like a lost cause, and I had other things to do and whatever, so, and I kind of just, I felt like I moved on. But just recently, they approached me, the manager approached me, how would you feel about this? I'm like, I would love to have that part of my life story, the first female in 25 years and the first guitar player ever. Of course, I would love that to be part of my life story. So, I mean, schedule wise, I really had to move a lot of stuff, but it's worth it. Anything that's kind of a minor headache, it's been worth it to me to have this title and to be here, and to learn this like iconic music that I've been listening to forever. You know, I cut my teeth on their albums. You know. And to be there in Luis Damian's spot for the most part, it's so awesome, and I'm super excited about it, you know. So I guess to answer your question, they approached me, but I was already there.
You were waiting for them to.
Yes,
Okay.
I was waiting.
As I assume anybody else would.
So, ya te estaba esperando. Yes.
I've seen recently on your social media that a lot of other female mariachis have been reaching out to you after the news, after the announcement. What has it been like for you as a woman, you know, kicking in doors? You know, tell us a little bit about the reaction that you've gotten.
It's surprised me. I mean, the mariachi community is not very well known for its vocal support of each other, but it's been like so surprising and so wonderful. The messages I've been getting, you know, like don't tell anybody I sent you this, but you know, or even public posts on social media and stuff. I really feel like even if they don't want it, I'm doing it for them. You know, anytime I feel kind of nervous or a little scared, or I just think about that. I think about that, and I think about that there's, you know, for the example, the first time I rehearsed with Camperos, a lot of the daughters of the guys in the group were there, and they were filming me, putting me on their Snapchats and stuff, and they were all lined up on a couch just sitting there. You know, when I go practice with Mario, the viola player, his daughter is sitting next to me on the couch the whole time. You know, and I'm like, this is why I'm here. You know, this is why, bring it. Whatever the hardships or uncomfortableness that I have to go through, it's all worth it because of that.
That's the coolest.
It is for me too. I'm like, you know, it's not about me. It's not about like what I think about this or what I think about that, or it's about who comes after me, you know.
That's super cool, and I like that you mentioned what, you know, basically what comes next. I want to talk about a little bit about what the perception is of mariachi music, what is or isn't allowed, and I would say that mariachi world is kind of split in two as far as like uber traditionalists and everyone else.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of our Congress and the House and the Senate at this point. Yeah,
it definitely draws a parallel. So I want to talk about that. How do you feel that, you know, even with your impact in Camperos, where do you think mariachi is going? Do you think that it will continue to evolve into a more liberally acceptable? Do you think change will be welcomed, is basically what I'm saying.
I honestly believe that, as with anything, you have to evolve to survive. You know, anything on this earth needs to evolve to survive. And I really don't think I mean, there are small changes happen. Women have been a big part of the mariachi community for years, decades already. I really think that the media might be slow to catch on, or the representation might be slow to catch on. For example, the elite mariachi groups, you know, it's like a men's club, you know, but like, I've been a musician my entire life, you know. If I go on tour with a group, I'm usually the only girl in the group, you know, but it's not really a thing, because as long as I know my music, as long as I contribute just as much as everybody else is, it's never been a problem. And I don't see that being a problem here for that reason, you know. As long as, you know, I've studied just as hard, and I've worked just as hard as everybody else, and as long as I'm holding up my end, it's not a problem. I just think that, like the House and the Senate, like that parallel, there are certain unspoken rules that have been in place only because no one has spoken up against it, you know. I can't really think of anything right now that would prevent me from doing anything. You know, there was an unspoken rule that no women were allowed, but guess what? That rule's out the window now. So I really don't see anything else. I mean, I'll let you know if that changes. But at this point, I mean, as long as I keep the music as my focus, I don't see any problems.
That's awesome. Let me say on a personal level, that because we are full disclosure, we're kind of friends on the outside of mariachi world. I know her personally. I'm super glad that you're the one.
Really?
Yes. I feel like somebody with your mindset, with your personality, is the best way to represent women in mariachi.
Thanks.
And I'm super proud of you. I'm super happy for you. But just and in terms of a mariachi musician, I love that it's you. That you're the one that's going to carry the banner. I'm super happy that.
I feel like I'm a strong personality, and I feel like I can handle it. You know what I mean? Like, go ahead. Just like whatever I have to do, whatever gauntlet I have to walk through to be able to make it easier for the ones that maybe don't have as strong a personality but play awesome and sing awesome, and they deserve to. Anyway, thank you for that. I just feel that I have a strong character, and I have thick skin, and for me to be the first one, that's fine. There's a certain amount of not abuse, but hardships that you might have to go through, and whatever I have to walk through, whatever hardships, whatever gauntlet I have to walk through to make it easier for the ones that maybe don't have as forceful of a character as I do, but they play awesome, they sing awesome. If I can make their journey a little bit easier, then I'm all for it. So.
Speaking of that, something that I always tell my students, especially my young ones that are learning, mariachi is, and I always use the term in Spanish, bravura. It's not timid by any means. And I very specifically use the term bravura in place of the term macho.
Yeah.
Because, generally speaking, a lot of mariachi, the culture, the lyrics, the songs, they're very machista. They're very male-dominated, male-oriented. But what I always tell my female students is that you have to embody that personality from a female perspective.
Yeah.
Because some of my favorite singers, female singers, they're corajudas, they're brave, they're strong.
Mucha vida, yeah.
Yeah, Aida Cuevas, that goes into what you were saying. You have to be a strong character. And that goes for all of mariachi, female or male. And again, I think you embody that perfectly.
Thank you. Even if you're not on stage, you have to give the impression that you are. Sorry.
No worries at all.
I've been working a lot.
I imagine. Yeah, it's hard to be on tour. Is there anything else that you want to add, maybe to my viewers who are maybe just barely getting into mariachi? Something that you want to give them a tip or an insight, something?
My tip is just practice. Practice, learn songs, be into it. Be into it just like you're into anything. And going back to the lyrics being machista, whatever, honestly, listen to the 80s rock lyrics. They're way worse. Listen to any genre of music, or old jazz standards, and he hit me and it felt like a kiss, or anything like that. There's always that in any genre of music. And I really like that you say bravura instead of machismo, because machismo to me means something else, which is for a completely different video. But bravura is something that is exactly both genders can embody that. Machista is completely something else, and I think that's awesome. Yes, mariachi is very much that, and you
confidence.
Really, yes, practice in front of a mirror. Even if you don't feel that confidence, you really need to just try and get it inside your body. But otherwise, just learn your music. That's the only thing that music is the number one thing about it. The chisme, anything else, or the suits, this person's doing this, the balcón mariachero is making fun of this. You know what? So what? There's always if they're not talking about you, then you're not doing enough. You know what I mean? Bad or good. If they're talking about you, you're on the right path. I think.
Balcón mariachero, that's a deep cut right there. So,
Yeah, I know.
you know, people in mariachi world already will know about balcón mariachero.
It's a whole just diss page, basically.
It's a burn book.
It's a burn.
It's a mariachi burn book.
Yeah.
You know, thank you so much for your time,
Of
Stephanie.
course.
I'm super happy to have been able to come and have this talk with you.
I am too.
And so, for all of my students out there, for my viewers, be on the lookout for what's coming next with Mariachi Los Camperos. I know that they did just recently drop the single that you appeared on.
Yes, their new single is called Desaires. It's a song that Rocío Dúrcal recorded back in the day, and I had the pleasure of recording it with them. The half of the proceeds, and this is how woke Camperos are. Half of the proceeds are going to the Women Like Us Foundation, which is a foundation started because of the pay gap. So their main goal is equalizing the gender pay gap.
Super cool.
Yeah.
So, you know, hashtag woke, hashtag llegó la campera. So, super happy. Thank you guys. Thank you, Stephanie, for giving me this time.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time, this was Mariachi Ingles. See you guys.